it always comes down to growth. They want to grow their personal business. They want to grow a team. They want to grow in a market. They want to grow a niche. They want to grow revenue share. They want to grow something, right? So I think the first thing that we spend time the first 30 days is getting clarity on really what the agent or the partner wants to do inside the business. Because without clarity, like I just talked about how aggressive action really matters. But if you're not taking action on the right things, then you're kind of living in an insane world, in my opinion, right? You're climbing ladders as fast as possible. You're working as hard as you can, but you're not even sure if you're working on the right things. So the first thing is really sit down, get clear, get really, really specific on what the desired outcome is. It could be in 90 days, it could be in a year or 5 years from now, whatever timeline we're working with. And then make sure our actions that we're going to boil down to a daily and weekly cadence aligns with that.
How do entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and experts like you scale a massive business all while having fun and impacting lives? Welcome to the Play Bigger podcast. I'm your host, Raquel Quinnett, business coach, real estate entrepreneur, investor, wife, and sports mom. This podcast will give you real quick tips, strategies, tools, and inspire you to play bigger in business and in life. Are you ready? Let's grow to the next level. Most agents don't fail because they lack potential. They fail because they lack structure, standards, and execution. And today I am sitting down with Jeff Bonk, coach and trainer at Aligned Real Estate, one of the top performing teams in our industry. Jeff is known for helping agents get into production fast, and more importantly, teaching them how to build consistency instead of relying on motivation. And in this episode, we're talking about what actually moves the needle early on, the standards agents must adopt in today's market if they want real results, and why most people stay stuck even when they have access to training and support. So if you are serious about getting out of your own way and building momentum in your business, this conversation is for you to hear. Let's dive right into it. Welcome to the Play Bigger podcast. This show is for entrepreneurs who want to play bigger in business and in life. And today I have a very, very special guest who is a real estate leader who has built and scaled teams to over 100 million. Yes, 100 million in annual sales. He's merged his business with Align team at EXP to expand opportunity, to strengthen culture, and to increase impact. But more importantly, he's known as the guy you go to if you are an agent that wants to get into production fast and make money fast. Like, who wouldn't want to have this person in your back pocket? And I'm excited for this conversation because we're going to talk all things skills. We're going to talk all things productivity. We're going to talk about like systems. And I cannot wait to welcome to the show, Jeff Bonk.
Thank you so much, Raquel. It's so great to be here today. Anytime I get to spend with you, be it on a podcast, a coaching call, in a meeting, it's always time well spent and well enjoyed. So super
well,
happy
now
to
the
be here,
world
Raquel.
is going to know who you are. So one of the things that I want to start off with is you help agents get into production fast, like I had mentioned. What do you think is the first non-negotiable that agents should focus on when they either A, join a team, get their real estate license, or they're looking to grow their business?
Yep, absolutely. Something I had to learn, it took me some time to learn this in my business, and now it's something I believe in and kind of drives a lot of different things that I work on, is the person that takes the most action wins. And imperfect action is the only way to get to perfect action. So I think a lot of people in real estate, in entrepreneurship, in business, in all facets of life, quite frankly, spend so much time trying to get more skills or more knowledge or perfected on stuff while they're taking maybe some action, but like waiting to take the real action until they have a certain level that they feel comfortable. And that's just wrong, in my opinion. It's a recipe for disaster. So the biggest thing that we focus on with anybody in any part of their business, but be it a brand new agent getting into production or someone who's trying to ramp back up production, is how do we get clear and just get into action as quick as possible? And the person that takes more action wins. The more you fail, the more you're going to have successes. So it's about how many swings do you get? How many shots on net do you get? Really, it's that simple in the big picture, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's tried and true. Messy action will always beat perfect action because you will always get feedback. So now, speaking of the team that you have today that you get to be a part of, by the way, they do so much volume. and so much business that he's able to see patterns, and this is why I love speaking to people like this, because he's in the trenches, he's got the experience. And so when somebody joins a line who's a high producing team, what do you expect on your end in the first 30 days when an agent joins you guys?
Yeah, when an agent joins, they're really usually joining for a few different reasons, but they're very similar, right? It always comes down to growth. They want to grow their personal business. They want to grow a team. They want to grow in a market. They want to grow a niche. They want to grow revenue share. They want to grow something, right? So I think the first thing that we spend time in the first 30 days is getting clarity on really what the agent or the partner wants to do inside the business. Because without clarity, like I just talked about how much taking aggressive action really matters. But if you're not taking action on the right things, then you're kind of living in an insane world, in my opinion, right? You're climbing ladders as fast as possible. You're working as hard as you can, but you're not even sure if you're working on the right things. So the first thing is really sit down, get clear, get really, really specific on what the desired outcome is. It could be in 90 days, it could be in a year or 5 years from now, whatever timeline we're working with. And then make sure our actions that we're going to boil down to a daily and weekly cadence aligns with that. Because I find that's disconnected far, far too often, and especially in our industry where there's a million things to do and there's no one really giving you direction on what you should be doing, and you're just playing whack-a-mole all the time. So we try to get people away from whack-a-mole and into proactive, consistent action that actually is going in the direction they need it to go.
So an agent joins you, you guys get clarity. And we have people from all walks of life that get their real estate license, or sometimes you have an agent that came from another brokerage or another team, that needs to operate within your system. Or you've got an agent that, has not produced at the level that they thought. Because when we get clarity, there's a lot of people out there that say, I want to make 100,000 in this business, right? Yeah. So which skills, I believe, like confidence sometimes is necessary in this business, even to take action. So what skills, in your opinion, create confidence the fastest for agents to really kind of take action and learn and dive in to all the things?
Yeah. So confidence is the key, right? But there's a couple different ways to deliver that confidence, in my opinion. I think the wrong way to get that confidence, especially for a newer agent, for somebody who has really no understanding of the industry yet and just kind of like everything's brand new to them, the wrong way is to learn everything before getting into action. You need to know that you have support. You need to know that you can lean on the right people, have the right tools, have the right resources to go get that. So that's part of that gaining confidence, is making sure they understand that, know how to access it, know where it is, know who's supporting them. But a lot of people, I think, try to get all the knowledge first before they get into action, right? So confidence really means that when I go out and do something, I'm going to be able to deliver on what I'm going to do. So if you're an agent out on your own and you're trying to figure it out, maybe you do need to go learn everything first, right? And that's kind of why teams have evolved, in my opinion, to be so powerful and so dominant in the industry, because that's really hard to do, is go out and learn the whole transaction, all the little nuances, all the different things that could happen before you get into action, and have the confidence to really go and work with a client, or even prospect for a client, or try to find clients, or go to your sphere of influence and say, hey, I'm in real estate now and I would love to help you if you have any real estate needs. I don't think you could be confident doing that if you don't have either the support or the knowledge. So we try to make sure they understand where their support is, like what they have access to, what resources they have, what people they have, what systems and tools, and just overall knowledge base that they have access to, so that they can go out and be confident. And when you first come in, we have you bring in a list of people that we want you to go introduce yourself to, either as part of our team or as a new person operating in the real estate world. And the script is, I have a bag of resources behind me that I can help you get to your real estate goals, right? Like some form of that in a text message or a call. So having that confidence is super important. Just a matter of how do we give it to them. It's really giving them the support that they need and knowing how to find it, access it.
So first of all, I love that you brought that up, Jeff, because I think that just applies not only into real estate, but into all facets of life. It's not about who knows the most, because everyone's like, Raquel, how did you get in these rooms? And it's not knowing the most, it's knowing the who sometimes, and knowing that you've got the support, and knowing that you're going to go get mentors and coaches, even outside of the industry, to actually help you, deliver on confidence. So I love that you said that. What do you think is the biggest reason agents stay stuck early on, even when training, support, all that stuff is available? Because there's a huge percentage of that.
Definitely. I mean, was there an 87% failure rate in the industry? I think there's a couple things. Number one, it takes me back to something my dad used to always say. He used to coach me in basketball, and you're a basketball family as well. And I grew up, my dad played Division I basketball, so it was like basketball is how I learned a lot of things growing up as a kid. And he used to always say, like, give me the kid who's more aggressive and is willing to like get out there and bang and like crash into people and take charges and create charges, because I can calm that kid down. But if you're out there and you're scared of contact and you're scared of like getting into the mix, it's really hard sometimes to motivate that kid to be more aggressive. So some of it, and I'm just going to say it flat out, like not everyone could be successful in real estate or entrepreneurship or business. Some people like just aren't wired that way. Right? I think a lot of self-discovery needs to happen there. And I think we a lot of times try to put a round peg into a square hole. And that's what happens a lot in this industry. Everyone thinks it's going to be easier than it really is. They think it's $1 million listing. It's all these different things. So part of it's like self-discovery, in my opinion, and making sure we're not forcing the issue with the wrong person that's either doesn't have it or unwilling to change their personality to become it. That's number one. If you have it though, I think it's about clarity. It's about clarity. It's about accountability at the end of that. So if you're clear on what you need to do, even if you're aggressive and you have, the go get itness and you have like the real like energy to go after something, if you're not accountable to it, if there's not somebody or something holding you accountable, a lot of us, we're going to get distracted. I mean, we live in an industry where all the smartest minds in our world right now are trying to distract us with Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all the, like that's what all the smartest people are doing. So like we need some type of ecosystem to be inside of, be it a person, a group, something that's going to say, here's your plan. You good with your plan? Do you understand your plan? Awesome. And a week from now, a month from now, whatever the case may be, we're going to sit down and we're going to make sure you hit the plan. And if you need me along the way, I'm there for you. Like that ecosystem is so important, unless you're like 1% of 1% who's just going to figure it out on their own. Right. So
yeah.
That's key to me.
Okay. So speaking of like plan, you've got your plan. What do you think are the activities that move the needle the fastest for an agent that's either brand new or a veteran that's maybe struggling, is coming off of a bad year last year? Because we have several of those in our industry right now where they didn't have the best year in 2025 because of the market or different things or even life challenges. So what would you say are like the go-to tried and true activities that move the needle the fastest?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's two things in my mind. One is the most simple, cliche almost, it's conversations. You got to talk to more people. At the end of the day, if you're not having conversations with people, if you're not engaging in real estate strategy calls and conversations and just anything like that, it doesn't matter how you get to them. It could be cold calling, SOI, social media, networking. Like you have to just find your way to get into conversations. But I think like something you hit on, 25, people didn't have a great year. 24 was like a weird year too, right? Like the great years.
I mean, there's some that definitely crushed it. But there's more people that I would say that were top producers in 2024 that didn't have a good 2025.
Things went like this.
Yep.
Right? Like either you just rocketed or you really struggled and fell off. So like conversations, even though I think it's true, I think it's kind of a cop-out and kind of an easy answer that's hard to execute on. And it goes back to something we just talked about a second ago. It's confidence. Like I think you have to do inner work. So if you're not out there having conversations, or say you are having conversations and something's not clicking because the conversations aren't leading to conversions and contracts and clients and things like that, there's probably something inside of you, a belief system, some type of thing that's coming out of you and being projected poorly into your conversations that needs to be worked on. So doing some type of interpersonal work, and that's different for everybody, right? That could be reading books, that could be listening to podcasts, it could be meditating, it could be coaching, it could be counseling, it could be something on the inside needs to be tweaked. And I think right now, if you had a bad 25 and you're trying to figure out a way to get into, a more proactive and more productive 26, and you're doing the work, or you can't get yourself to do the work, but maybe you have, right? In 2022, 23, you were willing to do the work, and now you're in a funk. Right. You got to find a way. You got to work with somebody, do some self-discovery to figure out what things you need to work on inside so that you can actually bring yourself to do the outer work, which is going to actually matter and move the needle and turn into business and production.
Yeah. So you say confidence is one thing, but what do you think is if an agent had to do like 3 different things besides like conversations to give it their best shot? Now we've got like you talked about distraction. We got social media, right? Now agents are having to get on social media to market themselves. What would you say are 3 things that agents should do consistently this year that almost can pretty much guarantee that they're going to have a good year?
Yeah. So I think number one is we need to be working on our skills. We need to be working on the conversion skills and things that are actually going to help us turn those conversations into clients, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing, this is something I really think, AI technology, all the wars with Zillow and Homes.com, all these people, we're somewhat getting commoditized. And as there's less deals in the marketplace, and it's not as easy as it was in 2020 and 2021 and 22 and all the years when we were over 5 million deals in the country, you need to have a brand, you need to have a value prop that actually matters because there's less business out there. So are you working on your brand? Are you working on your value prop? Are you finding a niche every day? Are you spending time like identifying what you do? What is like quantify it? Like what actual value do you bring to the transaction, to the client, to the buyer, to the seller, and documenting that? And quite frankly, creating content around it out to the marketplace because people are going to go research you. So you can be having all these great conversations that you want, but if you don't have good content out there backing it up, if you don't have a good value prop to actually
You're
nail
invisible
down
online. Yeah.
Right. Like it could be great. It's great that you had the conversation, but that's another reason why you might not be going through, right? So skills on like actually doing transactions. A second one is making sure you have a brand and a value prop. And then the third thing, I mean, I'm a simple person, right? So those 2 things really are getting you 90% of the way there to me. I think the third thing is working on that mindset, like doing something tangible every single day, because this is hard. It's not easy.
How important do you think is a pipeline or tracking your pipeline and tracking like these conversations that can, how important is that to an agent's success?
So I think it's incredibly important for longevity. I think a super talented agent that is a great salesperson, great social personality can get by for a long time if they want to continue.
I'm smiling. I'm like, are you speaking about your wife that I love?
No way.
She has like so much personality, and I heard that like Red's like, for whatever reason, she can memorize things and doesn't need a CRM.
Yeah. So it's true, right? You can get by for a certain amount of time doing that, and you can, but what you're going to miss out on.
And she's still a rock star, by the way. She's like their number 1 agent.
There might be somebody behind her providing some support and some leverage and some tech. Yeah, there might be something happening there.
There is a magic person who we're speaking to right now.
Right. And where does this person go? Don't worry about it. It'll get sucked into the right place. But then, like, if you don't organize that properly, if you don't create pipeline, if you don't create a database of people that you can continue to remarket to and do repeat and referral business with, you're reinventing the wheel every single year. Like that's one of the saddest things that I think I see is like the agent that's been doing it for 20 or 25 years that's still cold calling for 5 hours a day. Nothing against cold calling. If you love it, do it. I hate it. I don't want to do it. So when I got into the business, I obsessed over pipeline. I obsessed over conversion. I obsessed over this person was a lead. They bought someplace else, but I stayed in touch with them and they went to Wisconsin. Now they're referring me people still to this day, right? So like pipeline, that's all pipeline to me. Not just like current deals that you're doing, like the nurturers that you never even did business with that might have came in from a Facebook lead or something that can turn into a relationship that brings back business in perpetuity forever. I always tell agents when they're getting started with us, either if they're revamping or brand new agents, I say, give me 2 or 3 years of you working every single opportunity and take on Zillow leads and go do open houses and cold call if you have to, like do whatever it takes to get 10, 15, 20 deals a year for 2 or 3 years. But the first thing I need you to obsess about is your database and your pipeline and continuing to grow the relationships inside of it. And then I promise you, you'll never have to get another new lead for the rest of your life. And you can have a $15 to $30 million business in perpetuity if you follow that game plan. And I think that's the missing piece from so many people's businesses where they just are just after the next transaction. And they're not worried about that person that wasn't ready to transact today or transacted and now, oh, there's nothing to do with them for a while. So that's, to me, like the key that keeps people, that's what creates the really good lifestyle in this business. Otherwise, you just got a high paying job in my opinion, right? Like if you want to turn to a business and something that's going to provide fruits of your labor for time to come, and that has to happen every day. You have to spend time every day in that database, organizing people, reaching out to people, categorizing them, having things set so that when you send out a mailer, you click 3 buttons and boom, your mailer's going out to your SOI, your Christmas card, whatever the thing may be, right? So that's the organization level that I think it's a little OCD, quite frankly, to do it right, but it's really what provides the leverage long term.
I think you brought up a really good point that I just want to address. I think when you are a salesperson, let's say a salesperson for a dealership, there's usually only a few ways to go get clients, or they give you, and it's like you've got to make phone calls all the time from the leads that they are buying.
Yeah.
You talked about Zillow, you talked about cold calling, and I think sometimes when we get into this business, there's just a buffet of ideas of how you could actually generate leads. What do you think is the right number? If like we were to talk about like you probably should just focus, like I could do content, right? Is it the right? Yeah. So
to me, it's 3 in the beginning,
right? Like,
it could grow.
I want to do just mailers, or I want to do, open houses, or I want to do client events. Like, what do you see with successful agents? How many like lead pillars do they actually focus on? Because I think focusing on all of those might dilute their results in getting their, being successful at this business.
Yeah, this is another every single time conversation that we have with new agents when they come into the organization. And it's, especially if you're newer, and if you're more advanced, we're probably still going to rip some other stuff out and pull out some other things that you're spending time on and get you down to 3 until you get leverage. If you can get leverage on some other ones, and now you're only spending an hour or 2 a week on it, and something else that technology or person is doing it for you, awesome. Keep that lead lever going, go find a new one. But I think you can only actively manage 3, and I think they're all pretty well defined of what they should be, at least 2 of them. Number 1 is like if you don't want to make SOI and your past clients and repeat referral business your first lead lever, I think we don't even have a conversation to have, because I think you're just thinking about business wrong. It's like we just talked about why that was so important for longevity of your career and everything. Like I almost won't work with people if they're not committed to doing that, because I think they're just going to burn out and spin their wheels. Number 2, at least for us, it's online leads, like either pay-per-click, Facebook, Zillow, top, middle, bottom of the funnel, whatever it is. The reason is I think it creates really good habits of pipeline and database management on the front end, on the sales cycle
follow-up,
right? The follow-up, the organization, the categorization of them, the next step setting, the conversion cycle, learning how to objection handle, all those things. It's kind of like, shotgun of a water hose of opportunity to like learn those skills real quickly. And after those 2, like, let's go choose your own adventure. Are you a social media person? Do you love creating content and you want to get into people's DMs and start like, having conversations there, moving them to the CRM, which you're already crushing because of your first 2 lead levers.
Right.
You're already working with properly. Do you want to go do open houses? Cool. And bring them into your CRM, which you're already operating well in. Do you want to go do networking? Do you want to cold call? Like the 3rd one is choose your own adventure, in my opinion. And then you have a core base of a business from those 3 things. But it has to come back into that engine. So that's why we start with the SOI. We start with online leads, because that creates that engine, good habits, good skills, and then you can keep adding into it.
Okay, so I've got this question that I have to ask, because I know that our audience that's either listening to this on YouTube or watching this on YouTube or listening to this in the car is, how do you teach agents today who discipline? Because they get into real estate, they're 1099, and this might be a question even for our team leaders that are listening to this. It's like, I got into real estate for freedom. How do you teach? And now you just listed so many things that they could do to be successful, right?
Yeah.
But we narrowed it down to 3. Like, these are really good things that I wish more people knew when they first started. So how do you teach somebody discipline that wanted to be in a freedom world of real estate?
Yeah. Well, one of my favorite sayings is discipline equals freedom, which Jocko Willink wrote the book on. He's a Navy SEAL turned business coach. Brilliant guy. If you haven't read that book, definitely check that one out. Without some discipline, you can't have freedom, like in my opinion. If you don't have constructs and confines that you live within, you're never going to get the ability to go then have the life of freedom that you really want. So I think it's different for different people. A lot of people, what I find provides the discipline though, is clarity. It's back to clarity. where people don't have discipline to do things because they're really not clear on what they should be doing. They're not clear on the outcomes that are going to be provided. They're not confident that if they do those things, it's actually going to matter and move the needle because they don't have a clear road path forward. They haven't really been given it, shown it, done the work to figure it out themselves. So like once you're clear on what you want and you're confident that the things that you're going to do are going to provide that outcome, the discipline comes a lot faster and quicker, I found. Right. So that's one thing that I really think matters a lot. The other is environment, accountability and environment. I think we'll do a lot of things for somebody else that we don't even know that well, potentially, but we told them we would do it versus what we would do for our own well-being, even though our own well-being is so much more relevant to us. That guilt, that kind of like commitment, that piece. So group accountability and one-on-one accountability with different people helps a ton with discipline. And then I'm a big believer of the person you are matters more than the things you do. So I really I'll go back to like health and wellness with people. I'll go back to mindset with people. I'll go back to like keeping commitments to yourself that are small.
Right.
So you want to hit 5 contacts a day or make 100 dials a day. What time are you getting up in the morning? Well, I kind of wander out of bed at like 6, 7, 8, 9. There's no let's define a time you get up in the morning.
Right.
Are you working out? Any kind of physical activity? No. Let's do 5 push-ups and just do those things and see how.
Movement.
Right. Commit. Make small commitments and let's make them positive. And then once you start hitting those things, now you're going to be all of a sudden becoming a person who hits their commitments, and you're going to be identifying with that more. So when the commitment comes to work stuff, you're programmed that way, right? So starting small. Matthew Ferry's a mentor of mine. He talked about lowering the bar. Like if you can't hit what you're hitting, start smaller. Let's make 1 dial a day. I've coached people to make 1 dial a day that were so scared of the phone, who have become successful agents and who make now 50 dials a day, 100 dials a day. So I think you have to, like a lot of people, let's plan it all out, make a perfect schedule for the day, and I got to hit all of it. It's impossible, and it's hard to do from a place where you're not really disciplined and committed right now.
Yeah.
But if you could chop away, have an end game in mind, right? Don't do this aimlessly. Don't do this with no real forward plan, but make it attainable at first, and then stack and stack and stack. And discipline is like a muscle. It grows as you start executing and doing it, sticking to it. You're going to start being able to grow the strength of that discipline as well.
Yep. Start small, then stack, or create a floor so that you kind of get to your ceiling, right? And so you obviously coach, train, get agents into production, not only for Align, which is an expansion team. They have multiple locations throughout the U.S., and you also have your own team. Yep. What does like real accountability look like inside of a high performing team?
Yeah, so accountability changes depending on the agent production level, essentially. Newer agents, we look at activity. So they don't have any production yet that they're doing. They're new to the business. So we hold accountability around activities. Is that dials? Is that contacts? What we typically do is we waterfall it. So it starts if you get your appointments, if you get your contracts, really, right? That goes a little further. Get your contracts and closings. We don't care about your appointments. If you're getting your appointments, we don't care about your contacts. If you get your contacts, we don't care how many dials. But if you're not getting any of it, are you showing me 250 dials a week, right? Like that's where the accountability starts there. As we get further down the road, when you're doing production and you're having positive results, the accountability changes. It's a pipeline review. Is your pipeline organized? Do you have a business plan going forward to maybe increase or add a new lead lever, depending on what phase of your business is in? So it becomes, over a certain production level, a little bit more customizable, a little bit more like business planning, and then accountability to that business plan. When you first get into the business, it's about getting you into action and getting you into forward momentum and holding you accountable to that. So that's really like the 2 buckets it falls into. And then it's a matter of just like organizing it, making sure the agents know where their standards are, what they are, where they are, and how to really know where they are on that life cycle of what they're doing, right? So it's a lot of times I think it's like, go do these things, but then it's like, well, how do I know if I'm doing those things? Where should I track it? What does it really counts as it? People get crippled in the details. So getting them clear on those details, I think, is very powerful as well to get them into action.
Yeah, it's so true. And, sometimes even when you kind of get into those details, that kind of sort of becomes an excuse for an agent. Like, I don't know what to do. You hear that very often in our industry. So I would love to know, I'm just curious, what excuses do you hear often from real estate agents? And then how do you kind of divert that or help the agents move past that. Because remember, Jeff has to get these agents into production and get revenue for the company.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest one that I hear more, 80% of the time, I didn't have time. I just ran out of time. I got busy.
Oh my God, we would be filthy rich for every time that somebody said that. Filthy
Yep.
rich.
Yeah. And I mean, my first response is always, if I got to find something to get done, I give it to the busiest person I know. So it's really not about like the inability to do it. It's about the fact that it just didn't happen, right? Like you have time.
It's so true. I'm like, why does my family always come to me? I'm like the busiest person.
Yep. They know it'll get done. That's right. That's exactly why. Because it's a matter of back to what we talked about, like becoming the person that it matters more than anything else. Like it really is. Like to me, real estate, entrepreneurship, business growth, it's just personal development disguised as a business. Because if you don't, especially in these like solopreneur type worlds, or even if you're on a team, part of an organization, you're still responsible for yourself, right? Like you're getting guidance and coaching and support, but you have to take the action. So you need to be the person that takes action. So when we get those excuses, it goes back to priorities, and it goes back to how badly do you really want this? Like if this is something that you want to do, this is something you have to prioritize, and we'll help you. We'll help you time block. We'll help you find the clarity on that. We'll help you even work with your calendar and hold you accountable. But if you keep coming back and you're not going to do it, there's something on the inside that's not just clicking. You may not be, might have it for real estate, and that's okay, right? Like it's not for everybody. So it's a matter of, in my mind, it's like you got 10 people that come into the company. 2 people are going to make it no matter what. They're just self-starters. They're absolute killers. They're going to figure it out. There's 2 people that are just not cut out for this. Can our company get those 6 people in the middle productive and successful? That's who we look for, right? And that's who these conversations work for. And that's so the structure and standards and the kind of ecosystem that we build. We're not trying to save everybody, because unfortunately there's just some that are just not cut out. And the other 2, like people love taking credit for those. They're not us. They just did it on their own. We just were supportive of them and helped them kind of, course correct a little bit. Those 6 in the middle, the 60%, is where I think we can really do the most damage and apply the most impact into the real estate industry as well. So that's really where we try to focus these thoughts on as well.
So I want to take it to the flip side. For the agent that jumps in, that gets productive, how do you keep agents from burning out while still building momentum? Because we see that also in our industry.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's about understanding like what they want to do and then taking everything off their plate as best as possible. So we were actually just having this conversation where we were talking about different people inside the organization who are growing and want to evolve into bigger and more advanced kind of operations and organizations. And we have luckily a big enough world that everyone can do that inside of our world. But the question becomes like, well, what if they want to focus on this and not on that? And what if their heart really sings doing this, but they don't like this piece, right? So it's like, some people want to recruit and they want to build a team, and other people want to build a personal brand that goes deep and like still works with buyers and sellers. So it's about having all the components in place and then knowing how to match people to those components properly and taking those things off their plate. So like there's some people that are insane starting conversations and like getting like other agents warmed up to the idea of working with our team, have no ability to manage a pipeline or close people. So like, let's empower that person to just start conversations and give them a good place to go kick those conversations into a recruiting or a growth department. But other people have no ability to start conversations, but they're like, I really love holding people's hands and onboarding them through a system, like once they're committed. Well, let's get you away from starting conversations and let's give you a role or some type of growth pattern that gets you to do that. And the same thing goes with buyers and sellers, right? Some people love working with sellers, hate working with buyers. Like, so figuring out like to avoid burnout, you only burn out when you're doing things you don't love to do. Right. So if you can take the things away that they don't love to do or not good at doing, it's not their superpower, it's not natural, provide support there and let them go do the thing they love, they're not going to get burnt out. Right. Yeah. So it's like having the resources, knowing how to read people and knowing how to match the 2 things together is really the key to like supporting people throughout burnout, in my opinion.
I think sometimes also it's easier said than done, right? Like how we're having this conversation. But a lot of times what I've found, whether it's in startup or helping people scale all the way down to like multiple locations and expansion and managing all that, is sometimes when the person or the agent sees such a big world, like they don't know what they don't know.
Right.
So how do you align agents in getting that their big vision, right, to actually be in alignment with them when they don't know, right? Like we probably have positions within Align today that aren't even created that somebody's probably going to take on in next year or even in 6 months from now, just like how fast you guys are growing.
Right.
Like how do you align agents that have a big vision but they don't know what their next steps are,
They don't know what they
or
want.
what they want?
So they're not clear on their vision, is
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because a lot of
Okay.
people I talk to aren't clear. Like they reach a level of success and and then, like, I mean, high producers too,
Yeah.
right? That are hitting $5, $6, $10 million in GCI. And they're like, Raquel, I don't know what's next.
Yeah.
It's like somebody that exited a company and is like, what do I do with my life now?
Yeah, for sure. So I actually just did a talk in Miami. The one I did with, we were talking about Elias, who was introducing me, and we were having all that fun. And the talk was really all about identifying what you want the next chapter of your life to look like, and then making sure you align your day-to-day activities to support it. And the way that I love doing this, there's two different ways that, depending on what kind of, how many photos you take, quite frankly, is how it works. Go back through your photos. Go back through your photos for the last year or two. And I challenge people to find a dozen different photos that defines brings an emotion out of them, that makes them really feel like that's the life they want to go back to. That's the world they want to live in. And then creating 3 different explanations of why that really lit them up. And then going down from there, like what emotions did they give them? And now how do we find those emotions inside of work? How do those same emotions come back? Right. So when I did it, it was about growing and exploring. Right. So I can't sit still. I need to always grow and explore, which puts me in a role that I like to build and find new things. Right.
Right.
Another thing was like making impact. Like a lot of the things were like being with people that we helped grow. So like impact was huge to me as well. And then just waking up excited every day, like being with people that I wanted to be with was something that came out. So it's like, how do I find a world and a vision where I could work with? So, and then you reverse engineer from there, right? And then you go all the way down to like the daily things that you need to be doing that will put you in that world. Because someone said a long time ago, I don't know who it was, but like there's easier ways to make money, or there's different ways to make money. If you're not having fun, like there's other ways to do this. Life is way too freaking short. If you don't know what your vision is, spend time finding it. I love looking at photos. You can journal. You can look back on your calendar. You can figure out like what moments in your life made you feel most alive, and then reverse engineer like how does that show up in the next chapter or the future role that you're going to take on inside of a business, inside of a company, inside your own organization as well. And I'm a huge believer in that. I'm very passionate about that because I got young kids. Like life's going fast. Like I don't want to look back with any regret. So like, I don't want to spend time doing things I don't like doing or being with people I don't want to be with. And that's super important to me.
If you, knowing what you know today, and if you had to start all over to basically rebuild your business, what are 3 things you would do today?
I would take more action quicker. So I talked about earlier that I'm like a recovering over planner. Like I'm still in recovery. I'm getting better at it. I get better at it every day.
It's getting faster.
Yep. The shortening the time between idea and implementation is like a really like more sophisticated way to say it. That's what I would do. Number 1, because the more swings you take, the more shots on goal you take, the more success you're going to have. Number 2 is I would really, really, really put a ton of emphasis on making sure I forced my way into rooms where I felt uncomfortable way more frequently. I've done it. And it's been, every time I do it, it is like a catapult for my personal growth, my business growth, and everything in between. Forcing myself into uncomfortable situations, speaking on that stage for the first time, being on podcasts, putting more content out there, taking more, sticking your head above the crowd more often is something that I think a lot of people are scared of doing because it's inherently like, that's why it is what it is. Like it is making yourself uncomfortable. But it's the most important thing that you could do to grow. Yeah. So take more action, get uncomfortable more regularly. And something that like I still kind of feel like I'm working on today is more time like thinking and like prioritizing and like working on something than being reactive. More proactive time than reactive time, I guess is a good way to say it. And like that scale moves depending on the season of your life, depending on the season of your business that you're in. But like, don't ever let yourself go too far to the reactive side. And if you have to wake up earlier and get stuff, like proactive stuff done, or stay up later to protect that time, I feel like too many times we get sucked into hamster wheel cycles of our life, and we're not actually being proactive and intentional with where we want to go. So making sure you're protecting that time and growing that time as well is
That's so good. Any books that you would recommend to our audience that you have loved and enjoy reading that helps with, success, business, their mindset, clarity?
Yeah. So I love Atomic Habits by James Clear. It was one of my favorites. I probably read it 5 times, if not more. Darren Hardy's The Compound Effect was one that hit me about 10, 12 years ago, that concepts from nothing I quote all the time and think about all the time. Even earlier, The Magic of Thinking Big was a book that was really popular like 20 years ago, which is like fallen. It was like one of those like How to Win Friends and Influence People, like one of those really classics, but it's kind of fallen off the radar recently. But it's really just all about mindset, about like your activity will really be based on the person that you think you are and the belief systems that you have. Those are my 3 favorite right there. I could probably go on forever, but
love it.
Yep.
Love it, Jeff. So you dropped a ton of knowledge, a ton of value for that agent that's listening, of like, how do I just get out of a rut? How do I break through the ceiling because I'm stuck? Or how do I just restart and get, and have the best year ever? Where can people connect with you?
Yeah, so I'm super active on Instagram. It's Jeff_Bonk on Instagram. You could drop my cell phone and email right in the comments or right in the thing here. People are welcome to reach out to me there. But Instagram is the easiest place to get me. That's quick and easy enough to find.
Awesome. And we will also put it in the show notes to make sure that you guys can all connect with this amazing Jeff. And as we wrap up, there's always one question that I ask every single person on the show is, what does Jeff do to play bigger in business or in life?
Ooh, what do I do to play bigger in business or in life? I think this doesn't seem like the right answer, but it feels right for some reason. I try to stay present as much as possible. Because it sounds like the opposite, right? It's not growth minded, but like it's what it's all about. Like it's all about experience. It's all about the life. At the end of the day, you look back, it's like, what life did I experience? What was I present for? What was really the experience of the life that you had? And if you rush through it and you're not like absorbing it and being present in it, there's really no point to it in my mind, right? So it's like, be present, enjoy every second of it, and really lean into life.
Oh my gosh. Nuggets, values, mic drops, all the things. Thank you so much, Jeff, for being on the show. Thank you for your time. I so appreciate you. I appreciate working with you. I appreciate supporting like you and cheering you on and playing bigger. And I can't wait to see how you continue to impact the world, my friend.
Thanks so much for having us, Raquel. Appreciate it. It's always good spending time.
Of course.